Hello my gorgeous friends of Webflow, it's your friendly neighborhood Francesco from Supasaito here. Today we're building a super cool effect that looks way more complex than it actually is. A glow that follows your cursor across a grid of cards, while always staying perfectly clipped inside each one. At first glance, this feels like the kind of thing that should require a bunch of JavaScript. But the fun part is, it really doesn't. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to build it using a very simple structure, a smart combination of Webflow variables and classic interactions, plus just a few lines of CSS. And by the end, you'll be able to customize the whole thing however you want. If you find my videos helpful and want to support my work, you'll see the thanks button right below the video. No pressure at all, even just watching, liking and subscribing already means a lot. But now, if you're ready, let's dive in. Let's first take a quick look at the structure of the page. Let's ignore the global styles embed for just a moment and start with the easy stuff. We begin with the usual setup: a section, a container, and a div block wrapping the actual content of the section. That wrapper div has the class section_card-list, and we use it to create a sort of masonry-like layout with 3 columns. If you're curious about how to build a layout like this, I'll put the link to the full tutorial in the description below. Inside the section card list, we have 6 div blocks with the class section_card. This is the class we use to apply padding on all sides, a 1 rem bottom margin, a background color from our color variables, and an 8-pixel border radius. Inside each card, we have 3 elements: an H2 heading, an SVG icon inside an embed element, and a short paragraph. The only thing really worth pointing out here, and something I like to repeat every time we work with embedded SVGs, is that the fill attribute of the SVG is set to current color. That means we can control the color of the SVG simply by changing the text color of its parent element, the embed element. Very handy, right? And that's really it for the structure. In just a few minutes, we'll slightly tweak it by adding 1 extra div, but that's for a very good reason, a very cool one. If you've been following this channel for a while, you probably already know what the next step is. Yep. Before looking at how to build the interaction, we first need to understand what we're actually trying to achieve. That's always the right process. So the real question is, how do we create a glow, basically something that looks like a blurred light source, that feels like it moves across the whole grid while always staying clipped inside each card? Well, first important clarification, it's actually not a blurred div. It's a radial gradient background, applied directly to the cards. And if we select any of the cards, open the style panel and check the background property, apart from the black background color we mentioned earlier, we can't see anything. So, where exactly is our radial gradient? Do you remember that silent, innocent little embed element with a global styles class that we skipped at the beginning of the video? Yep. That's the culprit. Let's open it and inspect the code inside. For now, even though the CSS is mostly the same, let's not focus too much on section_card-wrapper. That part is for later, when we add the cherry on top of this interaction cake. Instead, let's focus on the rules inside the curly braces attached to section_card. That dot, of course, means class. And section_card is the class applied to all our cards. And these 2 lines of CSS are doing something conceptually very simple. They set background attachment to fixed, and they define a radial gradient as the background image. That radial gradient is exactly the glow we saw earlier in the preview. Before we move forward, though, we need to answer a few important questions. First, what does background attachment fixed actually do? In simple terms, background attachment fixed makes the background behaves as if it's attached to the viewport, instead of moving together with the element itself. Normally, a background belongs to the box it's applied to. So if the element moves or scrolls, the background moves with it. But when you set it to fixed, the background is painted relative to the viewport. So even though each card has its own background, all of those backgrounds behave as if they are showing different cropped portions of one larger shared background layer that stays still on the screen. And that's exactly what makes this trick work. Because once every card is looking at the same virtual background space, we can move the center of the radial gradient using variables, and it will feel like one single glow is traveling across the entire grid, even though the glow is technically being rendered separately inside each card. That's why the effect looks continuous, but still stays perfectly clipped by each card's boundaries. Super elegant, right? Second question, how should we read this gradient formula? This might look scary at first, but it's actually very readable once you break it down. Here's what it means. Radial gradient creates a circular gradient that fades outward from a center point. Circle at var x, var y tells the browser where the center of that glow should be. Var x is the horizontal position, var y is the vertical position, var glow is the color at the center of the glow, and transparent var glow size means that by the time the gradient reaches the distance defined by the glow size variable, it has fully faded out to transparent. So, in plain English, draw a circular glow whose center is at x and y. Start with the glow color in the middle and gradually fade it out until it becomes fully transparent at the distance defined by the glow size. That's it. And because all of those values are variables, we can control the entire glow, position, color, size, even visibility, directly from Webflow Variables, which is very convenient. So, how do these two ideas combine to create the final effect? The answer is pretty simple. Because background attachment fixed makes each card behave as if it's showing a piece of the same shared background space, if we animate the x and y variables, the ones controlling the center of the radial gradient, the glow will appear to move smoothly across the entire grid. And since the gradient is still technically applied to each card individually, it always stays clipped inside each card. That's the trick, and that's the whole illusion. And with that, we can close the code editor and jump into the variables panel. There's no real need to focus on the variable collection named colors, since that's not directly related to the effect itself. We're only using it to store a nice palette inspired by Google's material design. If the name wasn't already a giveaway, the collection we actually care about is the one right above it. Glow Background Properties. This is where we store all the variables used to configure and animate the effect. At the very top of the list, we have the two most important ones, x and y. Their default values are 50 dVW and 50 dVH. And yes, we're using dynamic viewport units here just to be extra picky. Now, if my explanation of background attachment fixed made sense, you've probably already figured out what these values mean. Since the glow is being positioned relative to the viewport, setting x to 50 dVW and y to 50 dVH places the center of the radial gradient exactly in the middle of the screen. And in fact, that is exactly where it's sitting. But in the designer, we still don't see any glow. Why? Because of the next variable, opacity. This is set to 0%, and it's used to define the next property, glow color. More specifically, the opacity variable controls the alpha channel of the RGBA color value used for the glow. So, if opacity is set to 0%, the glow color is effectively transparent, which means the glow is technically there, but completely invisible. Sneaky. The next variable is glow size, and this one is pretty straightforward. The larger the value, the more spread out and diffused the glow appears. Finally, we also have a variable called border glow color. Now, even though the name already gives away what it does, this one belongs to the cherry on top phase of the tutorial. So, for now, we'll leave it alone. because next we get to the most exciting part of the whole video, the animation. Let's go! Let's select the section and move to the interactions panel. Do you remember when I said that the little lightning icon next to the section tells us that's where the magic happens? Well, if you don't remember, it's just because I haven't said that, because that would be only partially true. Yes, we do have an interaction attached to the section, but that's definitely not the core of the effect. The first interaction is simply a mouse hover trigger, and it contains two very simple animations, section glow on and section glow off. We use this interaction to turn our radial gradient on and off. In other words, when we hover over the section, the glow fades in, and when we hover out, it fades back out. If we open the glow on animation, we can see that it's simply targeting the opacity variable we looked at a moment ago. With a duration of 0.5 seconds and no easing, it changes that variable from its initial value of 0%, the one defined in the variables panel, to 15%. Conversely, the glow off animation brings it back to 0%, using the exact same duration and timing. One last thing worth noticing here. This interaction is set to trigger only on the desktop breakpoint, since we obviously don't have hover events on touch devices. And now, let's get to the interaction of all interactions, the one responsible for about 90% of the overall experience. And the funny part is, you'll soon realize that this interaction is not actually any more complicated than the one we just looked at. And that's the beauty of a smart setup. The first thing to notice is that this interaction is not attached to the section, it's attached to the page itself. More specifically, it's a mouse move in viewport interaction. That means it's triggered every time we move the cursor anywhere inside the viewport, regardless of whether we're currently hovering the section or not. So why do we need an interaction that is basically always active, instead of attaching it directly to the section that contains the cards? The answer has to do with the nature of background attachment fixed, which we just talked about. Since the background is always positioned relative to the viewport, if we want the glowing circle, which is really our radial gradient, to always follow the cursor correctly, we need to map the animation to something that always moves along with the viewport. And honestly, what could be better than the viewport itself? And that's why we use a page trigger instead of a regular element trigger. Now let's open it. With a breathtaking amount of imagination, I call the animation Page Move Glow. Here, the only two things really worth mentioning are we are using a relatively low smoothing value, 60%, because we want the glow to follow the cursor without too much delay. And once again, the interaction only runs on the desktop breakpoint, because touch devices don't have a mouse move event. Now, let's open the actual animation. Boom! Super simple. We only have 4 actions in total, 2 for movement along the x-axis and 2 for movement along the y-axis, and that makes perfect sense. All we really need to define is where the x-coordinate of the radial gradient should be when the cursor is at the far left of the viewport and where it should be when the cursor is at the far right. And then we do the exact same thing for the y-axis. Top of the viewport, bottom of the viewport. So the x variable goes from 0 dVW on the far left to 100 dVW on the far right, and the y variable goes from 0 dVH at the top to 100 dVH at the bottom. And that's it. That's the whole movement logic. At this point, we can switch to preview mode, so the hover interaction on the section can actually trigger and make the glow visible, and we can already enjoy a really nice glow moving across the cards as we move the mouse around the viewport. But hey, we're still missing something, aren't we? Where's our gorgeous glowing border from the preview at the beginning of the video? Fear not, my friends. Just give me 2 more minutes, because it's finally time to put the cherry on top of our beautiful interaction cake. Thanks to the setup we've built so far, adding the glow to the border requires almost nothing. Just one extra div block and a quick copy-paste of the same CSS logic we already looked at in the first part of the video. More specifically, here's what we need to do. First, we wrap each card inside a new div block. We give this wrapper the class section_card-wrapper. Then, we move the 1 rem bottom margin from the card itself to the wrapper. But the most important thing here is this. The wrapper gets 1 pixel of padding on all sides. That tiny padding is what creates the border. We're not using the actual border property. Not on the wrapper, not on the card. Instead, we fake the border by creating a very small gap between the wrapper and the card inside it. That little 1 pixel of space becomes our border area. Then we apply an almost fully transparent background color to the wrapper using one of our color variables and give it the same 8 pixel border radius used on the card itself. So the wrapper and the card align perfectly. And honestly, that's basically it. Very simple, very effective, very sneaky. Now we can open the global styles embed again and finally look at the other few lines of CSS we left aside earlier. As we mentioned before, they're almost identical to the ones we already analyzed. The only real difference is, this time we're targeting section card wrapper instead of section card, and we're using a different variable for the glow color. That's it. Now, just to make sure nothing is left to mystery, let's open the variables panel one last time and inspect that new variable. We can see that it uses the exact same formula as glow color, but with one small and very powerful difference. Because we want the glow on the border to feel stronger and more defined than the softer glow inside a card, we multiply the opacity variable by 5. And that's exactly why the border glow appears much sharper and brighter. Same logic, same system, just a stronger result. And now I want you to notice something very important. There is no new animation. On the interaction side, absolutely nothing changes. Why? Because the radial gradient applied to the card wrapper uses the exact same coordinates, the same x and y variables, as the radial gradient applied to the card itself. So the animation we already built is controlling both glows at the same time. Perfectly in sync, perfectly consistent. And of course, the same goes for the glow on and glow off animations. Since the opacity variable is used to define the color of both glows, fading that value in and out automatically affects both the inner glow and the border glow together. One system, 2 layers, 0 extra complexity. Chef's kiss. And now the time has finally come, my friends. Without even needing to publish the site, let's switch to preview mode and play around with this beauty. From here, you can very easily tweak the colors, change the glow size, adjust the smoothing, make the border stronger or softer, or experiment with the opacity range. You know the drill. Now let's quickly wrap up what we've built today and then, as always, music recommendation time. And that's it for today. We built a cursor following glow effect that feels like it moves across the whole card grid while still staying perfectly clipped inside each card. And then we extended the exact same logic to the border without adding any extra animation. So, under the hood, this whole thing is actually pretty simple. One system, 2 layers, 0 extra complexity. And that's exactly the kind of illusion I love most in Webflow. If you want to play with it yourself, you'll find the clonable link in the description below. Today's music recommendation is Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind and Fire. Because if the glow is dancing across the grid, the soundtrack kind of has to dance too. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more Webflow tips and tricks. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Matane!